Hello, my name is Key Light and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to get into this Sunday school lesson about abiding love. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're going to get right into it. The scripture today is going to come from John 15 verse 4 through 17. And we are going to get into what does it mean during a farewell speech where we give this significant metaphor of God being the root, the foundation of this vineyard. We are the branches. What do we do when we need that vineyard to be pruned? Who is going to fall off? Who is going to stay strong and wavering and know who is their source, who is their foundation, and more importantly, who is their strength? So like I said, you guys, we're going to get right into it. You all know I love reading from the Message Bible. So let's get into it out. So first we're going to get into the scripture of John chapter 15, verse 4 through 8. Live in me, make your home in me, just as I do in you. In the same way that a branch can bear grapes by itself, but only by being joined to the vine. You can't bear fruit unless you are joined with me. I am the vine. You are the branches. When you're joined with me and I with you, the relation intimate and organic. The harvest is sure to be abundant. Separated, you can't produce a thing. Anyone who separates from me is dead wood, gathered up and thrown on the bonfire. But if you make yourselves at home with me, and my words are at home with you, you can be sure that whatever you ask will be listened to and acted upon. This is how my Father shows who he is. When you produce grapes, when you mature as my disciples. First, we get into the fact that he talks about you are going to live in me as I in you. It's this mutual relationship, this mutual love that we keep on seeing. And Jesus is pretty much saying, I am you and you are with me. If you have Jesus in you, of course you have the source, the foundation of God as that vineyard. So then you can be that branch, that extension of God. Now, isn't it amazing how Jesus pretty much says you cannot bear fruit unless you are connected to me? And think about it. It is so true. Every success that we have, everything that we are giving, good health, security, peace of mind, it all comes from the source of Jesus through God. And just going more further, God and Jesus is that driving force. They are that driving force to continue us in our purpose in life. They are the continuing force that makes us not want to give up every day. They're that continuing force to make sure that we are living right and we make wonderful and good decisions. And even when we make bad decisions, they are the source and the force that allows us to forgive, reconnect, reevaluate, and assess our actions so that we do not do it again. One thing Jesus points out, if you become separated from this vineyard, if that branch, and you are the metaphor of the branch, if you get separated and you don't want to continue to come back to God or Jesus, it is simply the symbolic representation of dead wood. And we really have to connect and hone into that. If we do not understand that our purpose, our livelihood comes from God and Jesus, we are dead. Essentially, we are not whole. We are not fulfilled. And if you notice, sometimes we do get carried away in worldly things. We get more enraptured with social media sometimes than getting into our word. And I can definitely be a testimony to that. And sometimes when you do get wrapped up into things that are not of God, It can weigh you down. It can make you feel insecure. It can make you not feel valued. But when you remember who God is, all that other stuff doesn't matter. I mean, I hate to go back to it, but sometimes your phone lets you know how much screen time you have been on your phone. And what I want to know from you all, how much screen time, relationship time have you spent with God? Are the hours on your phone less than the time and the relationship that you're building with God? And if it's more time on that screen time, we definitely need to reassess what in fact we really are invested in. Now, another thing that Jesus makes known of, whatever you ask for, it will be listened to. And we have to keep that in mind, that God is always going to listen to us. We may not get what we want, but he's going to listen. And that's a wonderful gift, because lots of times we have people around us, family and friends, who we think they're listening to us when we're trying to express ourselves and talk about our desires and wants. But are they truly listening? God is listening to us. He knows our hearts, our desires, and our dreams. Now, when he's going to act upon it, it's going to be in right timing. And we just have to keep that in mind too. Now, the last thing I want to pick up in this chunk of the scripture is just talking about how Jesus makes known that sometimes branches will fall, they will fester, parasites will get on them. But we have to be strong enough to stay strong to that foundation of Jesus through Christ, God. And I like to keep in mind that sometimes, we are very strong. We know that we love God. We know we are followers of Christ. But sometimes we do get those parasites on us. Sometimes we do get those negative thoughts. Sometimes we make bad choices. Sometimes we waver and not, do our fellowship and our testimony and speak positive affirmations like we should, which are those parasites. But we have to always remember who our source is. If you claim who your source is, you know who your source is, and you are constantly trying to build a stronger foundation and a relationship with God, it will prosper and you will prosper. Okay. We're going to go to John chapter 15, verse 9 through 10. I've loved you the way my Father has loved me. Make yourselves at home in my love. If you keep my commands, you'll remain intimately at home in my love. That's what I've done. Kept my Father's commands and made myself at home in his love. Now, this is the point where we're going to get into agape love. Love that's unconditional. And that's the thing that we may not get from family. Sometimes we may not even get from our friends. But one thing about Jesus, he is going to make sure that it's this constant reflection of agape love. Constant reflection of, I'm going to love you no matter what. You just have to remember who your source is and stay strong to that vineyard. Be that strong branch. And isn't that so wonderful that Jesus is saying this love is going to be nurturing, it's going to be eternal, and I'm going to love you without any type of conditions or expectations. Whatever you might do, I am going to love you. I am going to hold fast to you, and I'm going to make sure that you do the right decision. Now let's go ahead and end it with John chapter 15, verse 11 through 17. I've told you these things for a purpose, that my joy might be your joy, and your joy wholly mature. This is my command. Love one another the way I loved you. This is the very best way to love. Put your life on the line for your friends. You are my friends. When you do things I command you, I'm no longer calling you servants, because servants don't understand what their master is thinking and planning. No, I've named you friends, because I've let you in on everything, and I've heard from the Father. You didn't choose me, remember? I chose you and put you in the world to bear fruit that won't spoil. As fruit bearers, whatever you ask the Father in relation to me, he gives you. But remember the root command, love one another. Now, Jesus is letting us know, I have chosen you. And that's, I never thought about it like that in a way when I read the scripture, or just in general before reading the scripture. God has chosen us to do the wonderful purpose in life, which is to love one another. God has chosen us to make sure that everyone knows about his good word. God has chosen us to be that friend, not a servant, to understand everything. When we read the Bible, we know everything. There's no gotcha game. There's no guessing game to it at all. He's letting us know all the tools to make sure that we are like Christ, but that we show others Christ within us. We have to be that strong branch, and we have to understand that God chose you to love. And that's going to be our thought to remember. Be the strong branch because God chose you. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this Sunday school lesson, honeys. Remember, I love you all. And until next time.